Hello there! It's time to look at video games dropping in August. The games industry begins to fire so many games our way, it's tough to know what's worth your time. So, like always, I found a bunch of full-price AAA juggernauts, a spattering of reduced-priced experiences, and a few free games to tide you over. Today's video is sponsored by Focus Entertainment, and a game I've been looking forward to for a very long time now. August 2023. New games. Let's do this. Hell yeah, I'm starting with Atlas Fallen, because visually it looks amazing. Deck 13's third-person action role-playing game. Atlas Fallen begins with creating our own character, one of the many nameless in the land. But a chance encounter with this magic gauntlet changes everything. This thing can manipulate sand. And that's why we see the cool sand surfing traversal mechanic we haven't seen since 2012's Journey. Our new goal is to free mankind from the corrupted gods that watch over the world. The further we progress, the more abilities we unlock, and the more our weapons evolve. And that's when the legendary creatures face us, unique beasts with unique fighting styles. But rest assured, all do have weaknesses, but we have to find them. So combat looks to have an additional level of strategy, and who can turn down a fight with a dragon? For context, this is most definitely not a Souls-like game. It's all about action and grandeur. And there's an extra cherry on top of this. It may look like a solo game, and it sure can be played that way, but it's also possible to play this with a friend. Drop in, drop out co-op from start to end. Atlas Fallen has a great deal of potential, releasing on August 10th on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. Next up is the Immortals of Aveum, a first-person shooter, but there isn't a gun in sight. To fit the fantasy setting, we instead wield magic through our hands. We play as Jack, who joins a battle mage order to save the planet from annihilation. He somehow has the ability to wield 3 magic types, which is rare in this universe. The 3 types are colour-based, red, blue and green, and represent destruction, manipulation and life force. But more realistically, we can generally sum these core abilities up like this. The red is like a short-range shotgun blast, the blue acts like a long-range sniper rifle, and the green is this mid-range LMG. Another cool mechanic is the whip that we hold, which has the ability to lasso enemies to bring them closer to your red weapon. It goes deeper than that, but overall that's the basic premise of the magic abilities. You'll also need to upgrade the talent tree to unlock and evolve your powers. Immortals of Aveum is a terrible name for a video game, but it releases on August 22nd on PS5, Xbox Series and PC. Have a look at Armored Core 6, which is getting huge attention as it's the next game from the developers behind Elden Ring. And you're not seeing things, Armored Core 6 is a mech-based combat game. We are told that this version of Armored Core is like a soft reboot to the series designed to help new players jump in without any knowledge at all. Our mech is customizable over time as we prepare to fight bosses and their minions. And From Software have confirmed the game will be challenging, as seen in the recent Elden Ring and Sekiro games. A stagger mechanic is confirmed, which is going to be the core of the battles. It's not an open world, but each mission is created as large as possible to give players choice of any direction to traverse. We're still waiting on real meaty info, which should be coming in the next few weeks. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon releases on August 25th on PS4, PS5, the Xboxes and PC. There's a lot of love for asymmetric multiplayer games like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th. Games where one person plays as the overpowered bad guy and a team of survivors attempt to outsmart them and escape unharmed. This time, the movie franchise Texas Chainsaw Massacre is trying out the genre. I can't show too much as I'd like to stay on YouTube's good graces, but rest assured it's a gruesome horror game. 4 captured survivors must work together to misdirect the hungry cannibals and get out alive. Inevitably, Leatherface will be near, chainsaw in hand. If this sounds like your game, look out for it on August 18th on PlayStation, Xbox and PC. Okie dokie, let's look at free games this month, and wow, there's a bunch. Tower of Fantasy is my pick as it makes its debut on PlayStation 4 and 5 this month. The open world action RPG, which definitely takes inspiration from Breath of the Wild and the behemoth free-to-play game Genshin Impact. The anime-style MMO has a surprisingly good story that builds the lore of the planet. The real wow factor is exploration, searching this open world, finding unexpected NPCs, battles and items. For combat, it's real time and we select picked 3 weapons to take along with us, and we switched them out on the fly to find a weakness against our foes. One thing I really like is the perfect dodge mechanic, which briefly freezes your enemy in place for a few seconds for uncontested damage. Character customization is deep as we make our perfect avatar, and as this is an MMO, you shouldn't meet anyone who looks identical to you. Tower of Fantasy is already available on PC and comes to PlayStation for free on August 8th. Another free game recently released is Naraka Bladepoint. The Xbox exclusive unexpectedly became free-to-play and released on PlayStation 5 last week. A battle royale game unlike its peers. Naraka's focus is melee combat as 60 players face off to be the last surviving. The martial arts-inspired combat uses a rock-paper-scissors approach, but there are occasional ranged weapons and a great grappling hook to get around the map quickly. The boredom between battles is usually the downfall of most battle royales, so this grappling hook will really help that issue. Naraka Bladepoint is out right now, totally free on PS5, Xbox and PC. And speaking of games that quietly switched to a free-to-play model, Divine Knockout is now free. The platform fighter set in third person was initially seen on PS Plus, but that decision has been reversed. In a very cartoony style, we take control of a god, ranging from Norse legends like Loki and Thor to Greek myths like Zeus and Athena, and even King Arthur is playable. And a cool touch is that characters are ranked on how easy they are to pick up and play. Divine Knockout has a small but dedicated community who really need new blood, so you can play it right now for free on PlayStation 4, 5, the Xboxes and PC, and you don't need PS Plus or Games with Gold. Oh, and a quick note about another game which is touted as free to play, but it's releasing in August in early access for people who've paid for a Founders Pack. This is Wayfinder, an MMO of sorts in which we play as a Wayfinder, exploring dungeons, hunting beasts, and constantly crafting and upgrading weapons and armour. I'll be buying Wayfinder on August 15th, and I'll tell you about it before it releases for free later in 2023. Okay, that's enough free stuff. Back to priced games, and reduced price game to be specific. A few months back, I showed you Wrestlequest, but typically a day later, it was delayed to August. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again now. Wrestlequest takes the concept of pro wrestling and turns it into a retro fantasy RPG. We go on an adventure and become the best in the world. We undertake storylines that result in a matchup against WWF legends, and only victory gets the respect you need. I'm looking forward to this. August 8th on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, the PC, and the Switch too. There are so many more games coming this month that I haven't had chance to talk about, like Fort Solis, a psychological thriller set on Mars presented like a Netflix TV series. Troy Baker and Red Dead 2's Roger Clark are involved in the game, and we're still waiting on previews to see what it's really like. The addictive family co-op moving game gets a sequel. Moving Out 2, we are in charge of removals, getting household items and placing them carefully on the truck. It quickly becomes apparent that destruction is a legit method to moving house quickly. Under the Waves is another narrative-driven adventure game which looks at isolation and how it changes the state of mind of Stan here, whilst he has this very unique job. August 29th for that one. Another one of Xbox's exclusive games has now arrived on PlayStation. High on Life, the comedy shooter, is out right now. It just released suddenly overnight. And Goodbye Volcano High, the furry coming-of-age game, gets a release in August. And finally, Baldur's Gate 3 looks to be a very impressive role-playing game with turn-based combat. The PlayStation release was delayed to September, so I'm going to talk about it next month instead, if that's okay. And as there are so many new games coming out this month, if you think I've missed one and it needs more attention, let me know and I'll sure to double back on it next month.